Action. Action. You want action? I've got action. Hey everybody, welcome into Chapter 3 of the Fat Kids Certified Sports Entertainment Spectacular. I am your host, I am Mike Bernier. Today we're going to discuss the American League All-Stars. The reserves were announced earlier this evening, or yesterday, depending on when we get this up. It's currently Sunday, where I am in balmy South Florida. If I need water midway through this, it's because I'm cramping up still from the heat that I played a baseball game in. Yeah, you can probably see I'm a lobster. You can see my face, my arm. Carol called me a fucking lobster. So, without any further ado, we're going to discuss the American League All-Stars, the reserves. The pitchers were announced today. So we're going to go over the full roster. Some guys that I think were snubs and should be on the roster. And, some guys that, potentially injury-wise could decide to take the vacation time off. So without any further ado, we're going to start the American League East. We'll start with the first place New York Yankees. They are led by three All-Stars. Gary Sanchez and DJ LeMahieu won the primary voting, and they will be joined by their closer, Aroldis Chapman. No real surprise here, maybe except for the fact that Gleyber Torres wasn't a potential guy that could have been on there, as he was in the final vote. But no Gio Urshela, which I don't think there should have been. No Judge, no Stanton, which I don't think there should have been. They got what they should have with LeMahieu and Gary for sure, and Aroldis Chapman's still probably the best closer in baseball. The Boston Red Sox, they'll be, I guess what's the word I'm looking for? They will be served by Mookie Betts and JD Martinez. Both guys were in the final primary vote. No real thought on anybody other than the two of them from Major League Baseball perspective. Me, on the other hand, I also thought that Rafael Devers and Xander Bogaerts should be there. We'll get to them when we talk about the snubs. The Toronto Blue Jays, they'll be represented by Marcus Stroman. Stroman making his first All-Star game appearance. The guys from the six, you're having Vladdy in the home run derby. I would have loved to see Vladdy in the All-Star game. I get it, he's a rookie. I get it, he isn't hitting 600 with 45 home runs and 150 RBIs. But I love me some Vladdy, so I would have loved to see Vladdy in there. The representative for the Tampa Bay Rays is Austin Meadows. Austin Meadows came over in the trade for Chris Archer, that also netted the Tampa Bay Rays Tyler Glasnow, who I also think would have been a All-Star candidate had Glasnow not gone down with an injury. Meadows is hitting the crap out of the ball, hitting just under 300, double-digit home runs, 45 RBIs. I believe he has 40 runs scored. The option there was either Meadows or Pham. Major League Baseball players and coaches went with the rookie Austin Meadows. So this is his first All-Star appearance. And then this one is not surprising because of the team that is. The Baltimore Orioles are sending pitcher John Means. You don't know John Means. I don't know John Means. I don't think John Means' family knows who John Means is. He has 7 wins. The Orioles have 24 as a team. He has a quarter of their wins. I think we know why he's going to the All-Star game. He's got an ERA above right around the 3 mark. Going to be interesting to see if you get him in the game. I hope they do because, it'd be fun. It'd be a fun situation to see a guy like that who, for this 1 year, no matter where the rest of his career goes, he'll always be an All-Star in 2019. So congratulations to him. In the American League Central, the Kansas City Royals will be represented by Whit Merrifield. I love Whit Merrifield. I love everything that Whit Merrifield does. I love the fact that he plays 5 different positions and that he can hit 1 through 8 in that lineup very easily, and that he gets on base, he puts the ball in play. So, if you look up the prototypical ball player that I will draft and go to war with every day of the week, it's Whit Merrifield. I love Whit. But I don't think that Whit should have been the only person representing the Kansas City Royals. We'll get into that with the snubs. I know I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself, but I feel very passionate about this one. And I feel like that Major League Baseball got this one wrong. And I hope by some stretch of the imagination that this guy gets added, whether it be through a final vote or through maybe a potential guy who wants to take the All-Star game off. But we'll talk about that person coming up very soon. The Chicago White Sox, they have 3 representatives. They're represented by James McCann and Jose Abreu. Both of them are reserves. And then the guy that I thought, no matter what happened, was going to be the Chicago White Sox's representative, and that was Lucas Giolito. Giolito came over in the trade for Adam Eaton. He was the key piece in that, and I think that no matter what you say here, Lucas Giolito has been great. And the fact of the matter is, if you look at Lucas Giolito and you put him, say this trade for Adam Eaton never occurs, and Lucas Giolito's back in Washington. He's the 4th pitcher in a rotation with Strasburg, Scherzer, Patrick Corbin. Lucas Giolito. The Washington Nationals pitching staff would be absolutely ridiculous. But he's not there, and he's the gain of the Chicago White Sox. He will represent the White Sox in the All-Star game. He's a guy that I'd like to see pitch in that game, and I'd like a guy to start that game. I like me some Lucas Giolito. For the Minnesota Twins, it is Jorge Polanco, the starting shortstop, and Jake Odorizzi. Odorizzi came over from Tampa. Back and forth between him and Berrios. They gave the nod to Odorizzi, who's 10-2. Berrios was 9-3. I don't have a problem with either one of these guys representing that team. I have a snub or two that could have been on with that team, but I know some injuries, some other guys, and having to have a representative from each team makes that a little bit harder. The Cleveland Indians, they have 3 guys. Carlos Santana won the vote. I don't have an issue there. Brad Hand, great reliever. Probably one of the best closers in baseball. Don't have a problem there. My qualm is with Francisco Lindor. I love me Frankie. But I talked about this on the first video that we recorded when the starters were announced. Excuse me. That I feel like you have to play X amount of games to be eligible for this. Frankie missed the entire first month of the season. I get the All-Star games in Cleveland. I get Alex Cora trying to do the city of Cleveland a solid. So same with Major League Baseball. But there are other guys, infielders, that should be on this team. And that's no disrespect to Francisco Lindor. One of the best players, one of the most electric players in baseball. But there are some guys that really should be representing their team here that aren't because of it. Carlos Santana, first All-Star game appearance. To wrap up the AL Central, the Detroit Tigers will be sending Shane Green. No shock here. Nobody else really on that roster that I would consider sending. If Miggy would have announced his retirement, I would have sent Miggy for the celebration. But Shane Green's been their best guy. The only other real option they had there was Matthew Boyd. Boyd's been roughed up his last couple of starts, so I like Shane Green being the selection here. And finally, in the American League West, the Texas Rangers will send 3 representatives from the ballpark in Arlington. Hunter Pence, the starter, as the designated hitter. He beat out J.D. Martinez in the primary vote. He'll be joined by outfielder Joey Gallo and starting pitcher Mike Minor. I like the Rangers getting some love here. I know it's been weird seeing a Rangers team without Adrian Beltre on the field. It's been really weird to watch them play with West Coast games because, I stay up and watch some of those games. So it's really weird to see them not have Adrian Beltre in the middle of that lineup. But Joey Gallo's been swinging the bat tremendous. No real snide. Just for the home run derby sake, I hope Nomar Mazara's in because he hit that one 505 feet like a week ago. If he does that in Cleveland, it may leave the entire state. So if we can, Mazara for the home run derby, let's go. The Seattle Mariners will send designated hitter Dan Vogelbach. They've been depleted by injuries, so I don't know who else they would send. D. Gordon's been banged up. Marco Gonzalez has not been as good as advertised. Ryan Healy got banged up. They traded Edwin Encarnacion. I guess it's Vogelbach by default. I'm not mad at it. It is whatever it is to me. The Oakland A's will send Matt Chapman, the second best defensive third baseman in baseball, outside of a guy who plays in Colorado named Nolan Arenado. We'll talk about him in our next episode where we go to the National League. Big fan of Matt Chapman. Great glove. Hits the ball very well. That ballpark in Oakland, though, is huge. So it's not, his power numbers don't look as great, but his doubles are good, his triples are all right. So I like Matt Chapman. The Angels will be represented by the starting center fielder in his 8th consecutive All-Star game, Mike Trout, the greatest player on the face of the earth. It's not even close. He will be joined by someone that I told you guys in the video yesterday or the day before that I will always hold a special spot in my heart for, and that's Tommy La Stella, the Chanticleer. Coastal Carolina gets their first ever Major League Baseball All-Star. Tommy La Stella from the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. Huge props to Tommy. Every Coastal Carolina fan is enjoying what you're doing out in LA, and we love it. And we're happy that you get to be represented in the All-Star game. We're really happy for Tommy. We're really happy for the Angels. And finally, the last team in the American League, the team that's got the most guys going, is the Houston Astros. The probably best team in the American League right now. They're sending Bregman, Brantley, and Springer as starters. They all won the primary. They'll be sending 3 pitchers along with that. That's Garrett Cole, Justin Verlander, and Ryan Presley. You guys remember Ryan Presley had a 39-inning scoreless streak that got broken about a month ago. Presley's been lights out of that bullpen. We all know about Garrett Cole, and it's Justin Verlander's world. We're all just living in it. A lot of strikeouts. Kate Upton walked to the AL championship series probably every year for the rest of his career. It's not bad to be Justin Verlander, I guess. So we're going to go over everybody again. For the American League, Gary Sanchez, DJ LeMahieu, Aroldis Chapman, Mookie Betts, JD Martinez, Marcus Stroman in his first All-Star Game appearance, Austin Meadows in his first, John Means in his first. In the Central, Whit Merrifield, his first All-Star Game appearance. Really surprising. I thought Whit should have been an All-Star last year. James McCann, his first. Jose Abreu's in it as well. Not his first. Lucas Giolito, his first appearance. Odorizzi and Polanco, both first appearance for the Twins. Lindor and Hand going back to the All-Star Game, joined by Carlos Santana for his first appearance. Shane Green, his first appearance for the Tigers. For the Rangers, Gallo and Minor making their first appearance. Pence was a National League All-Star as a member of the San Francisco Giants. Dan Vogelbach, Matt Chapman making their first appearance. Mike Trout is Mike Trout. He's going to be an All-Star for the rest of his career. We know that. I just gave a lot of love to Tommy Listell, his first All-Star Game appearance. And Ryan Presley making his first appearance in an All-Star Game as a starter for the Houston Astros, or excuse me, as a reliever for the Houston Astros. Now, some guys that I thought were snubbed out and some guys that I feel like they could replace. Pitching's a lot harder because that's where a lot of these teams will fill the void of having to send one person because we need a lot of pitching in the All-Star Game because we don't want the Milwaukee situation to happen again. For those of you that do not know what the Milwaukee situation is, that's when we finish the All-Star Game in a tie. We're not doing that ever again. Never. So, some guys that I thought were snubbed. Hunter Dozier of the Kansas City Royals. I talked about Hunter in my first video, how much I thought that Dozier is the guy that I voted for to be the starting third baseman for the American League. I still believe that Hunter Dozier is an All-Star. I still believe that he should be on that roster somewhere. I feel like he should be there over Francisco Lindor. I also feel that Xander Bogaerts with the Boston Red Sox should be over Francisco Lindor. It's no slight against Frankie, like I said. I just feel like he hasn't played a ton of games. So I feel like he should be a guy that, shouldn't probably be playing this, but will because he's a Cleveland Indian. So, you have to look at it from that standpoint. Also, Rafael Devers. He's a guy who's been great all year for the Boston Red Sox. He probably should be there. Just running out of room. And a guy who sneaky good all year. A lot of people may not know this. Max Kepler of the Minnesota Twins absolutely has been an All-Star. He's been hitting the ball all over the field, playing great defensively. Has missed like 3 or 4 games probably all year. Hasn't had a DL stint yet. But the guy's been absolutely mind-boggling out in the outfield for Minnesota. And he's been a key piece because they lost Byron Buxton for a little while there. They've been banged up at times. And the constant has always been Max Kepler, the leadoff hitter for the Minnesota Twins. I think Max should have been an All-Star. I don't think he gets a lot of credit because of the great year that Eddie Rosario is having. And that's no disrespect to Eddie Rosario. It's just I feel like Max Kepler is the glue that's keeping that thing together. But we are where we are now. So those are your American League All-Stars. There will be some injury replacements that I know that will probably come up for some guys that are going to respectfully decline their invitation to the All-Star Game due to wanting to take those 4 or 5 days off to recharge the battery, which, again, I don't blame these guys for wanting to do that. But if you have the opportunity to honor your league and your team and be an All-Star, then, I'd probably do it myself. But that's me, and I'm some guy that's sitting in front of a camera in South Florida with third-degree burn. That's what it feels like. So, the American League is set. You hear about some of my snubs. In my next episode, we are going to discuss the National League. Who I feel is the biggest snub of all of it, and you guys have understood my anger level towards Hunter Dozier and Xander Bogaerts being left off of the American League All-Star team. I feel like there's someone who's been more disrespected and isn't part of the National League team. We'll go into details about that. We're going to talk about the NL West being a juggernaut of All-Star appearances. Kind of interested. But we'll talk about that on the next episode of Fat Kid Certified Sports Entertainment. I am Mike Bernier. I am the guy in front of the camera. Special thanks to my wife for doing all of the editing. We're going to have some fun stuff coming up. Craig's coming into town, so we're going to discuss some wrestling with him. I'm hopefully going to have a sit-down interview with his brother Billy, who's a independent coach for the High Point Rockers. We're going to discuss some stuff with Billy as well as some other people that we have lined up. So a lot of good things coming this way for the fat kids. We're looking forward to having a sit-down where we can actually eat some food so you guys can actually see me eat. I know, really weird. I've done 4 episodes and the kid hasn't eaten yet. So with that being said, make sure you hit the like, subscribe button down below. Follow me on Instagram at fatkidcertifiedse. On Twitter at TheyCallMeBurn. Until the next time when we talk about the National League All-Stars, I thank all of you guys for coming in. Good night.